We welcome Smriti Irani ji, Honorable Minister of Women of Child Development, Government of India, onto the dais. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the inception meet of W20 India 2023. My name is Gauri, and it is my honor to be your host for the next couple of days. Before we begin, in Indian tradition, I invite all the dignitaries on stage to please light the lamp, marking the beginning of this discussion and these deliberations. Thank you. Over the next couple of days, we will walk a journey together in pursuit of gender equality, equity, and dignity for all. We will have the opportunity to exchange knowledge, experience, and insight that will contribute to the W20's efforts to make gender a core component of G20 deliberations. Given the diversity of perspectives in this room, I'm sure we will leave with expanded hearts and minds and with inspiration and partners for the road ahead. In the spirit of respectful and constructive dialogue, I request everyone to please keep their mobiles on silent mode and to avoid leaving the room during the course of an ongoing discussion. I now request the W20 Secretariat team to welcome our esteemed dignitaries on stage. Ms. Smriti Irani, the Honorable Minister for Women and Child Development, Government of India. Mr. Rao Sahib Danve, Minister of State for Railways, Coals and Mines, Government of India. Dr. Bhagwat Karad, Honorable Minister of State for Finance, Government of India. Mr. Sandeepan Bhumre, Honorable Guardian Minister of Aurangabad. Mr. Atul Save, Honorable Minister, Government of Maharashtra. Mr. Amitabh Kant, respected Sherpa for G20 2023. Dr. Gulden, Turktan, Founder, Chair of W20. I also request the team to please welcome Dr. Sandhya Purecha, Chair for W20 2023. And Ms. Dharitri Patnaik, Chief Coordinator for W20. Thank you. I now request Dr. Sandhya Purecha to deliver the welcome address. Dr. Purecha, the chair for W20 here in India, is an award-winning performing artist, scholar, researcher, educator. She's an authority on classical dance and Sanskrit and is associated with several universities and is currently chairperson of the Sangeet Natak Academy.
Namo Namaha, Swagatam, Suswagatam. It's with great pleasure that I welcome you all to the W20 India's Inception meeting in grand and culturally rich Aurangabad. I would at the outset like to extend my heartfelt appreciation to Aurangabad city, the district collector's office, airport authorities and the people of Aurangabad for pulsating with energy and enthusiasm in bringing the city to life and welcoming us all in a truly vibrant and traditional way. Befittingly, Aurangabad is coined as the tourism capital of Maharashtra state. Today, we are honored to be in the presence of distinguished luminaries who have graced the W20's Inception meeting. I welcome our honorable chief guest, who is the epitome of Nari Shakti, feminine power, a beacon of change and a torchbearer for women's development, Srimati Smriti Irani ji, Honorable Union Minister of State for Women and Child Development and Minister for Minority Affairs, Government of India. It is truly an honor, madam, to have you with us today and support W20 and its activity. I warmly welcome Dr. Bhagwat Kishanrao Kararji, Honorable Union Minister of State for Finance, Government of India. We are also delighted to have with us the Sherpa G20 India, Shri Amitabh Kant ji, under whose proficient leadership, India's G20 presidency is progressively advancing towards fulfilling the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji and ensuring the great success of our presidency. I'm pleased to welcome Rao Sahib Danve Patil ji, Minister of State Railway, Aditi Das Sandipan Rao Bhumre ji, Minister of Aurangabad, Atul Save ji, Cooperative Minister, and Aditi Das Rao ji, Additional Secretary, Ministry WCD, and Nagaraj Naidu ji, Joint Secretary, G20. I would like to welcome the Honorable Founder Chair, W20, Dr. Gulden Turktan, and Chief Coordinator, W20 Secretariat, Srimati Dharitri Patnaik. It's a matter of a great pride for our nation, G20 and W20, that today we have present with us more than 40 international delegates who have gathered from all across the globe from Argentina, Japan, Spain, Germany, Italy, Turkey, Indonesia, South Korea, Nigeria, Bangladesh, Russia, South Africa, and United States of America. And delegates from international organizations like Asian Development Bank, United Nations Women, United Nations CBS, World Bank, International Labour Organization, and UNICEF. I also welcome all our national delegates and W20 Indian delegates, Shamika Ravi, Bharti Ghosh, and Basuri Swaraj. With the presence of our international delegates, we have truly transformed this meeting into the Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, one earth, one family, and one future. And lastly, I would like to extend my welcome to all our guests from the press and media also. For the W20, I have specially coined and composed a Sanskrit verse, Nari Vishwasya Nirmatri, Nari Vishwasya Sanskartri, Nari Vishwasya Rakshitri, Nari Moolam Hi Vishwasya. It means women is the creator, she is the preserver and propagator, a protector, and she is the foundation of the world. So, welcome to the So, welcome to the land of the Vedas, where women were regarded as the intellectually and spiritually elevated beings. The land of the Ramayana, where women like Sita were equal administrator and leaders of governance and growth. The land of Queen Jhansi and Queen Ahalyabai, where women fearlessly fought alongside men as valiant warrior and inspiring patriots. The land of Savitribai Phule, where women have the right to education, equality and justice. And the land of Sushma Swarajji, where women are at the forefront of Indian and a global politics. With this inspirational precedent, W20 would like to showcase India and women of India as a 21st century progressive and successful women who have broken all barriers to achieve their goals. Under India's presidency, W20 intends to build upon the tremendous efforts and the progress made by Turkey, China, Germany, Argentina, Japan, Saudi Arabia, Italy, and Indonesia under their presidency. W20 India is committed towards the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji of ensuring that India's G20 presidency is inclusive, ambitious, decisive, and action-oriented. W20 India envisions a world of equality and equity where every woman lives with dignity and has the opportunity to thrive, transcend and transform their lives, and is fully dedicated to its mission of doing away with all barriers to women-led development, ensuring an enabling environment for women, allowing them to reap the benefit of their potentiality. W20 India has adopted 4C strategy to advance its agenda: collaborate, cooperate, communicate and build senses, and call to action to achieve its mission and goals. India's W20 agenda focus on 5 key priorities: grassroots women leadership, women entrepreneurship, bridging the gender digital divide, women and girls as a change makers in climate change, and creating pathways through education and skill development. In the past decade, India has embarked on a journey of not just launching various schemes for empowering and uplifting women, but also executing those schemes at national as well as grassroots levels. Schemes like Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, Beti Bachao and Sukanya Samruddhi scheme have been launched for the prevention of female feticide and ensuring education and participation of the girl child. In order to curb violence against women, as stressed upon under Italy's W20 presidency, one-step center scheme was launched to provide support and assistance to women affected by violence. Mahila Shakti Kendras was introduced to create an environment for women where they have access to healthcare, quality education, guidance, and employment. Carrying forward the agenda of Italy and Indonesia, Women Entrepreneurship Fund Scheme was launched in 2020 to help women entrepreneurs who wish to start a business venture but do not have the required funds to start a business. The safety and empowerment of women and children are important concerns for the Indian government. These programs offer solution to the pressing issues affecting women in India and help to overcome the rising unfairness towards them and help create a conducive environment for their upliftment. We are elated to share with you that since India was handed over the gavel from Indonesia, W20 has in a span of just 2 months conducted productive meetings and outreach programs across 10 Indian states, organizing 40 outreach programs. This include interacting with urban and rural women and adults and girls, recognizing and awarding them for their pioneer initiatives, discussing various issues that are barriers to their growth, engaging with the youth and understanding the challenges faced by girls in education, organizing competitions and paper presentation, consulting with leaders and policymakers, and signing MOUs with knowledge and institutional partners. W20 India seeks to incorporate the inputs from all its stakeholders at the grassroots level and empower women through entrepreneurship, education, and skill development. during the 2 days of the inception meeting. We are looking forward to listening, discussing, and sharing your thoughts and deliberations on empowering women in nano, micro, and startup enterprises, role of women as change makers in climate resilience actions, and on creating an enabling ecosystem for women leaders at the grassroots levels, and also on the improving access through infrastructure and skill to bridge the gender digital divide, along with creating pathways for women through education and skilling and women-led development, and finally breaking the barriers through stories of unconventional women. In these 2 days, we will, through consultation, negotiation, and action, lead to the formation of a powerful and impactful communique to ensure that our voices are heard by global and national leaders, and our policies and recommendations find way into the G20 agenda and communique. Honorable Minister Smriti Irani ji and Sherpa Amitabh Kant ji, we will constantly need your support and guidance. Thank you very much for being with us. Once again, I invite you, all of you, to soak in Indian hospitality, our warmth and affection, and allow us the opportunity to make you experience Indian ethos where Atithi Devo Bhava, each guest is just like a god. We welcome you all once again. Jai Hind, Jai Maharashtra.
Thank you, Dr. Purecha, for your words today and for the untiring efforts that have led up to these 2 days. I now request Honorable Collector Astik Kumar Pandey, sir, to please welcome MLA Haribhau Bagre ji, who is with us today. Thank you, sir. I now invite Dr. Gulden Turktan, founder chair of W20, to address the delegates and guests. Dr. Turktan was appointed as founding chair in 2015 and again as Rural Women Co-Chair in 2022. She is a member of the Presidential Council of the Women Entrepreneurs Association of Turkey and is credited with helping several companies deliver on equal opportunity programs. She is also currently serving her second term as president of the board of International Women Forum in Turkey.
Honorable Ministers, dear Chair, dear Sherpa, dear delegates, and all attendees, I'm honored to be here. It's an honor to be in such a magnificent country with all the thought leaders to start an inception to make the world better. Because we may be called 20 countries, but many countries, the world is looking forward to us. And I will start with the bad news that the world is not in a good shape since the pandemic. We have lost ground, and we have to move forward in big steps. In W20, there was no W20, but there was G20, of course. And G20 in 2014 in Brisbane, Australia, said 25 by 25, which is a breakthrough to me, which is a great signature of all the male signatures at that time of all the governments to invite women on the board to propose policies that include policies to the governments to include more women. Because at that time, research said that if we can include as an entrepreneur, as an employee, as a person, social inclusion, economic inclusion, all kinds of inclusion, financial inclusion, women, the economies is going to be bigger, like in America and like China. Both of them together will be added to our economy. And instead, as you know, we have lost ground in women. 25 by 25 is the gap between women and men, and that 25 by 25 needs to be closed. In the first year we were welcomed with G20 because when I said let's form during Turkish presidency, let's try to form, you have to have a new idea in your presidency and let's have W20. And they told me, no, because every country has to agree to that and it will take ages to call 19 countries. We support you, but no. But then that came very quickly and we were successful to found the W20. I will try to recap the history very shortly and I will say one word per country, but most of the countries have done incredible work and I adore them, I am grateful to them, and we must all be grateful to all of them. But China, under All Women China Federation, has done great to add to the communique the digital inclusion and digital issues. That was a real contribution. When we came to Germany, Germany, of course, worked perfectly to invite the Chancellor 4 times to the W20 meeting, which was incredible. And she had her commitment, and we saw that commitment in the G20 declaration by half a page. But this is not country lobbying, this is a real effect and real change brought forward. After Germany came Argentina. Driving from the first communique, they said rural woman, and they brought in indigenous women to stage, because we don't have one woman, but we have all kinds of women. After that came Japan, and Japan had really organized their government and their people to say great things, and a lot of academicians. I never knew that there were so many women academicians. After Japan came, which country came? Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia did their job very peculiarly, and they said, recap the whole literature, worked with OECD and all international institutions, but then came the pandemic. With the pandemic, women were taken out of their employment because they were in not so well-to-do, sometimes in gray markets, and we lost ground in closing the gap. The gap has become bigger. So then came Indonesia, did a great job, and during Indonesia's time, we said recover together. Now it's magnificent, incredible, India's time. I'm sure they are going to do a great job, but what I see, I have been in the meantime a thought leader selected by Forbes magazine, which I'm very proud, just recently, 2023. And as a thought leader, everybody is saying, oh, you're a civil society leader, you're the entrepreneur, you're this businesswoman. What is this thought leader? Thought leader is exactly us here. We have to think something new, something that works for all of our societies. And I'm very proud to be selected the thought leader of 2023 by Forbes magazine. Oh, Italy did a great job. So I can have more than one sentence about Italy. Italy had something I never knew but always suspected. Italy said women's health, because we were in a situation where we were losing people in Italy and elsewhere, and women were the rescuers because they were well-balanced in the hospital industry and as doctors, women's health is very important. When the doctor prescribes something to me, I trust doctors very well, but I take half of it. But Italy said, woman is not small man. Woman has their peculiar things. So it was, I think, in my heart, a great thing. But that's not the only thing, of course. But that was the thing I have chosen for Italy. They have the Rome track, Rome roadmap, and very many topics touched and influenced Italy and all of us that we must also work on these. Italy had brought in REACT, Women Entrepreneurship Action Plan, and made entrepreneurship cross all the topics we had. So to finalize my words, I love each of them. I adore all of them, and I adore India, of course, because now when I speak to people and when you're a thought leader, I see that one world, we are one world. We are no longer this country, that country. I see that we are one world. And in that one world, we must do solutions for the world. And one of the solutions is leave no one behind us. So get the bulk, get the people at the back forward. What we have succeeded women in leadership, political and boards and CEOs, women everywhere that we demanded, but women in bulk, they have left the workforce, so we have to invite them back into the workforce. When I talk to women, they have come to an understanding that she's a big leader, she's a very successful lady, but she says, I want to have one skill. What shall you do with the skill? Okay, read, write, do skills. I wrote a book during the pandemic. She says, what if we fell back? Because since 2008, unfortunately, in the world, we are falling back. And we should stop falling back, and we should move forward with big steps, with big women, big number of women, and big solutions. I wish a good meeting for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Turktan. I now invite Shri Amitabh Kant, Sherpa G20, to address the audience. Kantji is a member of the Indian Administrative Services. He was CEO of the Niti Aayog, the Government of India's premier think tank, and prior to that has served as Secretary, Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion. He's also credited with some very impactful campaigns, such as Make in India, Startup India, Incredible India, and God's Own Country, which is specific to the state of Kerala. These campaigns have won several international awards and really brought together infrastructure, tourism, and development for all. Welcome, sir.
Honorable Minister, Srimati Smriti Irani, our President of the head of our Women 20, Dr. Sandhya Purecha, who's doing such an outstanding job. Our ministers who have joined us today, let me first welcome, they are ministers from this region, and it's very important. They've played a very critical role, but before that, let me welcome Dr. Gulden, Turktan, who's done a great job as the the chief founder of the Women's 20 movement. Dr. Bhagwat Kishanrao, she's Dadarao Damne, and the Guardian Minister of Maharashtra, and Mr. Atul Dave, who've joined us here today. Distinguished guests, let me first take this opportunity of welcoming all the members of Women 20 who've come from different parts of the world. we truly welcome you to Incredible India, and we welcome you to the city of Aurangabad. So let me also take this opportunity first to thank the government of Maharashtra and the young district collector and the young municipal commissioner who've done a great job of organizing this event and hosting it. Ladies, we are passing through a very turbulent period right now. The post-COVID era has seen about 200 million people go below the poverty line. Almost 100 million people have lost their jobs. There's a very major geopolitical crisis in Europe, which is having an impact on food, fuel, and fertilizer. Almost 1/3 of the world is in recession. 75 countries of the world are facing a global debt crisis. And all this has impacted growth, progress, and prosperity. And therefore, it's very important that during India's presidency, the Prime Minister has said that amongst many priorities which we discussed, amongst which was driving resilient, sustainable growth, it was about accelerating the pace of sustainable development goals. We are midway through the SDG goals of 2030. Instead of progressing, we have regressed. Then there is climate action and climate finance, on which key action is required. And then there's digital transformation and the digital public infrastructure which India has built up. But the Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi was very clear in his mind that all these crises, if we have to overcome them, and if we have to push for greater growth and prosperity, women-led development has to be the key focus of India's presidency. And therefore, we made women-led development as a very, very integral part of our G20 presidency, because the Prime Minister believes that it's not about women being mere beneficiaries, but women emerging as leaders of development, which is key. And therefore, our belief is that for long we have had biases against women, and these biases have got engraved into our very existence, which gets reflected in many ways. If you look at the World Economic Forum study, which says that it will take another 132 years to close the gender gap worldwide. 132 years. If you look at in 2022, almost 938 million women and girls live on less than $3.20 a day, and 1.7 billion women and girls live on less than $5.5 a day. And therefore, women and children are the major sufferers of poverty. If you look at women labor force participation, in almost 169 countries, the COVID has impacted in a manner where the gender gap is expected to widen very sharply. And if you look at the GEM 2021 Women Entrepreneurship Report, only 1 in every 3 growth-oriented entrepreneurs is actually a woman. And almost 2.4 billion women of working age are not afforded equal economic opportunity. And therefore our belief is that the world cannot grow, it cannot prosper, and it will not be able to bring in inclusive, resilient, and sustainable growth without women. And that, to our mind, is the key. In India, we have a very dynamic minister in Mrs. Irani, and she has driven many development programs. And I think it's important to dwell on a few of them, because we've digitized in a very big way every Indian today has a digital identity. Every Indian has a bank account. Every Indian has a mobile, and we do all digital transactions. So in India, we do 11x more digital fast payments than what USA and Europe do. We do 4x of what China does. So when we started the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, that is actually between 2014, 2015 and 2017, 15 and 17, India opened 480 million bank accounts, 480 million bank accounts. 55% of the bank accounts across the world were opened in India. Every second bank account was opened in India. But when we start, if you look at 2015, only 19% of the women had bank accounts. Today, almost 76% of the women have bank accounts. That has been the growth trajectory. And in the last 8 years, if you look at the Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana, 230 million women have availed business loans under this scheme. And almost 1.4 million women have been voted and elected at grassroots levels as political representatives in India. That has been the size and scale of transformation in India. So, ladies and gentlemen, we look at Women 20 with a great level of significance and importance, because our belief is that the potential of women as leaders is a very critical long-term investment for global prosperity. It's important for India, but it's important for global prosperity. More women in leadership will enhance productivity, it will maximize value, and therefore it will give, as the McKinsey Global Institute has said, women equality will actually bring in 28 trillion more to the global economy. And therefore, if you want to transform the world, there's no better way to have women's led development. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, we strongly feel that women are the backbone of the economy. We would like women to unleash the full potential of our economy, not just participate, but write the global growth story. So, ladies and gentlemen, when all of you in Women 20, ladies, when you discuss and debate, your recommendations will be very critical to India's presidency. We can assure you that your recommendations will be the key component of our leaders' recommendation. We'll make them a very integral part of our recommendation. And therefore, we look forward, we really look forward to very, very positive, very forward-looking and transformational recommendations from Women 20, led by Dr. Sandhya Purecha. So, ladies, we welcome you to India, we welcome you to Maharashtra, we welcome you to Aurangabad. Do a lot of hard work, but also see this great city. It's a great civilizational city. It has some great heritage sites. Do see them, but do make some great transformational recommendations which the leaders of the world will accept and take them forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kant, for those inspiring words. I now invite Mr. Atul Saveji, Honorable Minister, Government of Maharashtra, to address the gathering.
Good morning, everybody. It's a great pleasure to just speak few words for the G20 and W20. I welcome our Honorable Minister Smriti Irani ji to our historical city of Aurangabad, our Honorable Minister Rao Patel Damle ji, our Honorable Minister Dr. Bhagwat ji, and our Guardian Minister Honorable Sandipanji Umre Saab, and the Head of India for this G20, Honorable Amitabh Kant ji, and our Sandhya Purecha ji, and Gulden Turktan ji, and all the delegates from the different countries who have come to historical city of Aurangabad, and all the bureaucrats and delegates from throughout the country who have come to the city of Aurangabad. It's an indeed pleasure to have all the G20 delegates in this historical city of Aurangabad. Aurangabad has a very Asian background. It's the most important caves like Ajanta and Ellora. There are more than thousands of years ago caves were manufactured, and we have come to this historical city as well as the industrial city. All of others will speak on their agenda, but I'll just brief regarding Aurangabad. Aurangabad is a historical city, and today you'll have a visit to Ellora and Bibi Ka Maqbara and Panchakki. I think our collector and our municipal commissioner have arranged all these visits, and because we are all working under the leadership of Narendra Modi ji, and he is always after women empowerment, and like already Raja declared that he has already Beti Bachao Beti Padhao, means to save the girl child and to educate the girl child. This is his main aim. Then again he is also the Sukanya, it is the whenever the girl grows up for her marriage also, Narendra Modi ji has started all this so that girl child has been taken, so that is the one of and women empowerment also, he has always been taking the industries also, new startup. If a lady entrepreneur is there, she is given a preference in the bank rate of interest also, and allotment of plots also, and everything. That is the basic. Our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji is trying to benefit in our country, and like in Maharashtra also, our Chief Minister Eknath Shinde ji and Deputy Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, they always try to give preference to the lady entrepreneurs. And like in our self-government in Maharashtra and the country, we have like Jila Parishad and corporations, we have a reservation of all the corporators or Jila Parishad members with self-government bodies. We have about 50% reservation for ladies, which I don't think any country, as per my knowledge, it is not there, but in India, all self-government bodies we have 50% reservation. That itself is India is after women empowerment, and I'll not take much time, but welcome all the delegates from different countries to the historical city and industrial city of Aurangabad. Today, tomorrow, you will have a good time in Aurangabad. I welcome you all. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Maharashtra.
Thank you, Saveji. I now invite Dr. Bhagwat Karad, Union Minister of State for Finance, Government of India. He's a member of Parliament, Rajya Sabha. He's also a social worker and has worked tremendously in this region for women, children, also during COVID, the pandemic condition. He has also served as Deputy Mayor and Mayor of this historic city that you're in. And he has also served as the Director of Rural Electrification Corporation, Government of India.
Namaskar. Good morning to all. It's my privilege to welcome the Honorable Minister Srimati Smriti Irani ji, Women and Child Development Minister, Government of India, Honorable Rausai Patil Danve ji, our State Minister, Government of India, Shri Amitabh Kant ji, Sherpa G20, Honorable Sandipan Bhumre ji, Guardian Minister of this district, Atulji Save, Cooperative Minister, Dr. Sandhya Purecha, Chair of W20, Dr. Gulden Turktan, Founder Chair of W20, eminent dignitaries, panelists, and all other delegates and representatives of this region. Today, I stand before you all as the Minister of State for Finance in the Government of India. However, it gives me a great pleasure to welcome you to the city of Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar as a resident and former mayor of this town. It is a matter of great pride and honor that W20 incident meeting is being held in the city. Aurangabad is the city of 2 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, has always been a representation of the inclusive values of the ancient Indian civilization. Whether it is the figure of goddess Parvati slaying demon at the Ellora caves, or the painting of Queen Subhadra's elegance at the agenda. From Indian mythology to India's struggle for independence, women have played a key role in the progress of this society, one of the largest empire in the history of this subcontinent. The Maratha Empire could not have been established without the strong guidance and teaching of Rajmata Jizau to Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Actually, I understand you are here to discuss different problems in the development and to empower the women. So instead of my long speech, I welcome all of you to this historical city, and it is as earlier our president of W20 said, this is a town where there is a number of places to be seen. It's a tourist capital of Maharashtra. So I welcome all the delegates to this historical city, and I feel under the honorable presidency of G20 and W20, two presidents, women wing, they will discuss and will some conclusion will be crowded, and that will be helpful for the empowerment of the woman. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Karad. I now invite Rao Sahib Danveji, Minister of State in the Ministries of Railway, Coal and Mines, to address the audience. He has also previously served as Minister of State for Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution.
स्मृती जी, आज मराठी दिन आहे. हां, आणि त्याच्यामुळं आमची एक सोय झाली की तुम्हाला मराठी चांगली येते, आणि जे मी बोलन त्याचं ट्रान्सलेशन तुम्ही करून सांगा. तुमची सगळ्यांची अडचण आहे की मला इंग्लिश येत नाही, तुम्हाला मराठी येत नाही. आजच्या कार्यक्रमाच्या प्रमुख अतिथी लोकसभेतील आमच्या सहकारी आणि मंत्री स्मृती इराणीजी, मंत्रिमंडळातील आमचे सहकारी डॉक्टर भागवत कराडजी, ज्यांनी आमचं मार्गदर्शन केलं ते आमच्या राज्याचे सहकार मंत्री अतुल सावे साहेब, या ठिकाणी उपस्थित असलेले आमच्या राज्याचे रोजगार हमी योजना मंत्री संदीपानजी भुमरे, विधानसभेचे माजी अध्यक्ष आमदार आदरणीय हरिभाऊजी बागडे, अमिताभ कांतजी, संध्या पुरेचाजी, गुल्डन तुर्कतेन, मंचवर उपस्थित असलेले अन्य आमचे सर्व सहकारी आणि या कार्यक्रमाला उपस्थित असलेल्या सर्व प्रतिनिधी बंधू आणि भगिनींनो, सर्वप्रथम आमच्या सर्वांच्या वतीनं मी आपल्या सर्वांचे या छत्रपती संभाजीनगर शहरामध्ये स्वागत करतो. आत्ताच ज्यांनी आपल्याला या ठिकाणी मार्गदर्शन केलं त्यांनी या शहराचं वैशिष्ट्य काय, आमच्या देशाचं वैशिष्ट्य काय आणि महिलांच्या सक्षमीकरणासाठी आमच्या देशामध्ये काय काय केलं गेलं याचं वर्णन या ठिकाणी केलं गेलेलं आहे. कारण या देशाचे प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्रभाई मोदी 2014ला प्रधानमंत्री झाल्याच्या नंतर लोकसभेतलं त्यांचं पहिलं भाषण होतं की माझं सरकार हे गरिबासाठी समर्पित राहील. आणि या देशाची लोकसंख्या 2011च्या जनगणनेनुसार 125 कोटी आहे आणि त्यापैकी 80 कोटी लोक हे दारिद्र्यरेषेखाली नोंदल्या गेलेले आहेत. आणि त्यामुळं त्या लोकांची सेवा करणं, त्यांना दारिद्र्यरेषेच्या वर आणणं, यासाठी माझं सरकार काम करील. अशा प्रकारचं लोकसभेतलं पहिल्या दिवशीचं पहिलं भाषण आमच्या प्रधानमंत्र्यांनी केलं आणि एक गरीब कल्याणाचा अजेंडा तयार करून तो पूर्णपणानं राबवण्याचं काम केलं आहे. त्यामध्ये प्रामुख्यानं महिलांचा सुद्धा सहभाग होता. आमच्या देशामध्ये 40% लोकांनी बँकेचा चेहराच बघितला नव्हता. बँकेमध्ये ते जात नव्हते कारण बँक त्यांना कर्ज देत नव्हती. आणि म्हणून जनधन अकाउंट नावाची योजना केंद्र सरकारने काढली आणि जवळपास 40 कोटी अकाउंट बँकेमध्ये काढले. त्यातले 20 कोटी अकाउंट जवळपास हे महिलांच्या नावाने काढले गेले. हे महिला सक्षमीकरणाचं एक अत्यंत चांगलं महत्त्वाचं पाऊल मोदीजीने टाकलं. मला आठवतं की मी विधानसभेमध्ये स्मृती आमदार होतो. त्या टायमाला महिलांना स्थानिक स्वराज्य संस्थेमध्ये राखीव जागा नव्हत्या, रिझर्वेशन नव्हतं. महिला निवडणुकीमध्ये उभ्या राहत नव्हत्या, केवळ पुरुष निवडणुकीमध्ये उभे राहत होते. पण ही महाराष्ट्राची पहिली विधानसभा आहे की ज्या विधानसभेने ठराव घेतला आणि सुरुवातीला 33% आरक्षण महिलांसाठी निवडणुकीमध्ये ठेवलं आणि त्यानंतर 50% आरक्षण आता निवडणुकीमध्ये ठेवलं. लोकसभेमध्ये आम्ही निवडून आलेल्या महिला या तर जनरलमध्ये निवडून येतात, परंतु अनेक महिला अशा आहे की जर रिझर्वेशन नसतं तर कदाचित त्या राजकारणात आल्या नसत्या. सुरुवातीला जेव्हा महिलांसाठी आरक्षण ठेवलं तेव्हा महिला निवडणुकीला उभं राहायला तयार नव्हत्या. स्मृतीजी, जेव्हा आरक्षण झालं, तुम्हाला याला समजून सांगणं आहे, त्या टायमाला मी विधानसभेत आमदार होतो. जिल्हा परिषदच्या निवडणुका लागल्या तर जिल्हा परिषदला उभं राहण्यासाठी आमच्याकडे कोणी कॅन्डिडेट मिळत नव्हता महिलांमधून. अनेक प्रयत्न केल्याच्या नंतर महिलांनी आम्हाला होकार दिला, तरीही सगळ्या महिला आम्ही उभ्या करू शकलो नाही. अशा प्रकारची परिस्थिती होती. परंतु आज महिलांमध्ये जागृती आली, महिलांमध्ये समृद्धी आली, महिला हिरारीनं भाग घ्यायला लागल्या आणि त्याच्यामुळं या देशात पुरुषांच्या बरोबर महिला आता काम करू लागल्या. हे आमचं खऱ्या अर्थानं यश आहे. ही आपल्या देशामध्ये आता आहे, पण अन्य ठिकाणी तर अगोदर सुरू झालं. पण या देशाचे प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी आल्याच्या नंतर ही जागृती महिलांमध्ये आली. त्याचा फार मोठा फायदा आमच्या या देशाला मिळाला आहे. आणि मला असं वाटतं की ही परिषद इथं ज्या तुम्ही सगळेजणी आल्यात, तर आमच्या देशामध्ये महिला सक्षमीकरण करण्यासाठी या देशाच्या प्रधानमंत्र्यांनी कोणत्या कोणत्या पातळीवर प्रयत्न केला आणि त्यात काय प्रगती झाली. मग जनधन अकाउंट असू द्या, मुद्रा लोन असू द्या, इलेक्शनमधले त्यांचा 50% सहभाग असू द्या, अशा अनेक ठिकाणी आमच्या महिलांनी आता भाग घेतलेला आहे. आणि सगळ्यात महत्त्वाचं जर आपल्याला सांगायचं असेल तर या देशामध्ये महिला राष्ट्रपती झाल्या, महिला लोकसभेच्या अध्यक्ष राहिल्या, महिला विरोधी पक्षनेते राहिल्या. एवढा मोठा सहभाग या देशामध्ये महिलांचा आहे. एवढंच मी आपल्याला आजच्या प्रसंगी सांगू शकतो आणि माझे 2 शब्द संपवतो.
Thank you, Dhanviji. It is now my honor to introduce our keynote speaker, Smriti Irani ji, who is currently serving as the Union Minister for Women and Child Development and the Minister for Minority Affairs. She's previously also served as Minister for Education. She is the youngest Union Cabinet Minister in the government and the first woman to hold office as Minister of Education and Minister of Textiles. During her tenure as Education Minister, she introduced various educational reforms and is credited with conceiving the National Education Policy. She's also credited with launching Saksham, which is the first ever vision document for the differently abled, outlining policies and tools that need to be implemented. She, besides being the leader that she is today, she's also had a very successful career as a media professional, spanning over 2 decades. She's worked in several news networks and television shows and also theatre. And she's authored a book and also contributed columns to 2 national dailies. Thank you, ma'am, for being with us.
आदरणीय संध्या पुरेचा जी, फाउंडर चेयर W20, डॉक्टर तुर्तान, शेरपा G20, श्री अमिताभ कांत, मंचावर बसलेले आमचे नेते आदरणीय डॉक्टर कराड, रावसाहेब दानवे, आमचे पालक मंत्री संदीपन भुमरेजी, महाराष्ट्राचे मंत्री आदरणीय अतुल सावेजी, ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, and to our friends from Italy, as Dr. Turktan pointed out, so that you're not missed out, buongiorno. I welcome you as Minister of Women and Child Development to the glorious city of Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar. The state that you all are currently situated in is the cradle of the Maratha Empire, an empire in which the values of the ruler was designated, denoted by his mother, Jijabai. And when the W20 chair Sandhya ji speaks about a collation of thought leaders, she hopes that this amalgam of some of the best minds dedicated to the cause of women comes through with agendas which are inclusive, decisive, and action-oriented. And that is why when the Sherpa rose to speak, he began his address with the challenges that we may need to meet as a collective in the global discourse. And as the solutions unrolled in his speech, you found women at the center of each solution that he proposed. It is said that a woman in harmony of her spirit is like a river flowing, that she goes where she will without pretense, and when she arrives as only herself. So to the delegates of W20, you have arrived without pretense. You have arrived as yourself, and with you is the arrival of solutions that women of the world seek. Dr. Turktan, we value your leadership and your contribution, that you became the voice for many a women when we were struggling to find a space on the table. And in absentia, let me thank my Prime Minister, who declared at the table of the G20 that let women not be reduced to the sidelines. Let them take center stage because the world is hungry for solutions. So on behalf of all the W20 delegates, I wish to extend my gratitude to the Prime Minister of India for centralizing not the women's agency, but for centralizing the needs of humanity. As our W20 chair said, that she is looking at the 4 C's as part of her strategy. Those being collaboration, cooperation, communication, with a desire to build consensus and a call to action. And what better call to action is desired by the W20 chair when she focuses primarily on 5 priority areas. Grassroots women leadership, as the G20 Sherpa said, of the 3 million women across the world who are elected to political offices at the grassroots, 1.4 million women are Indian. When I look at the agenda of the priority areas of female enterprise, as the G20 Sherpa said, that of the 320 million loans given under a financial service scheme called Mudra, which, mind you, ladies and gentlemen, was not a gendered financial scheme, but a financial scheme that hoped to support enterprise without collateral, 230 million of the beneficiaries turned out to be women. So as an Indian woman, I proudly say, welcome to the country with 230 million female enterprises. But while we look at these women, I would also like you to reflect on the female prowess in the Indian agricultural sector. Today, we have 100 million women who are a workforce in our agrarian society, a society that envelops close to 622,000 villages across the country. We have 17 million women who are particularly devoting their time to animal husbandry. And when I look at the priority area 3, Sandhya ji, of bridging the digital divide, I am conscious of the fact that India is a country which has 800 million internet users. Now, will we reduce women to only users of technology, or shall we leverage technology to bring about equity? And I'm hopeful that the W20, amalgam of the best minds across the world, can also give us guidance as to how to use the best practices from each country so that we can leverage technology to build more on women-led businesses, to build more on women in our agrarian societies, to build more on women's needs in the health sector, and to build more when we talk about women and education, and particularly skill. We all know that the Prime Minister of India has led from the front when it comes to climate action. We all know that we need to build a global voice for climate finance. And what better way to build that voice than to make it a female agenda? I am grateful, W20 Chair, that you look at the priority area of making women change makers in climate action. And we need to consider this. Do we have a first responders framework for helping women who are impacted by climate change? As Dr. Turktan says, with every presidency, there is a desire, a new hope that we build a new framework. So while the Prime Minister of India brings the world's attention to climate change, climate action, and the need to finance solutions, can we look at building a framework for first responders with regards to a climate calamity? Because we know that one of the first ones who will need response are women and children. Lastly, as the W20 Chair has pronounced, you are looking at creating pathways through education and skill development. As an Indian, I proudly say that we have now, after 3 decades, a new education policy. This policy, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, was not reduced to paperwork in the corridors of power. This is a policy that emanated from every village education council in India. This is a policy that has a reflection from every district of India. This is a policy that has an input from every academic institution in India. And this is a policy which, for the first time in the history of my country, has a gender inclusion fund. So while I look at technology, I proudly say, when you look at women's skills, the Prime Minister in the year 2014 gave a call to action of Digital India. Many scoffed at him because there was no pandemic to fight. And amongst those who scoffed, there are some who said, well, how will women in the rural ramparts know how to leverage technology? And lo and behold, as G20 Sherpa says, of the 220 million plus bank accounts that were opened, most of them are operated by women digitally. That today we have 20 million plus women who are digitally certified as literate counts for something. But how can we spread this framework of engagement with women across the world with authorities like governments and organizations that orbit around governments to profit from the experience of policymakers? Delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I look at the stage this morning and gleefully told the Sherpa that amongst all those seated, the men outnumber the women. The Sherpa, decidedly so, honestly so, was a bit sheepish. But then I said, what better than a cohort of women giving more space to men, because we know what it feels like to be left behind. So ladies, we all know each time a woman stands up for herself, she stands up for all women. So stand up, be counted, because there are many across the world counting on you. I wish you well in your engagements, your deliberations. Jai Hind, Jai Maharashtra.
Thank you, ma'am. I now invite Dharitri Patnaik to deliver the vote of thanks. Dharitri has over 27 years of experience across sectors such as poverty alleviation, social reform, and women and child development, and she's currently the Chief Coordinator for the W20 Secretariat.
Namaste. Thank you is such a prayer that cannot be seen or touched. It must be felt by our hearts. I feel honored and privileged to propose a vote of thanks on this very special occasion. I would like to thank Honorable Minister, Women and Child Development and Minority Affairs, Srimati Smriti Irani ji. Madam, thank you very much. And what you spoke about, I'm sure W20, all my sisters present here under Dr. Sandhya Purecha's able leadership will definitely work towards it. And this 1.5 days of deliberations, we are going to discuss about the best practices, challenges, gaps in policies and programs, and definitely develop a lot of not only policy recommendations, but also action plans, how those policies can be implemented and executed. So that's what we're going to do. And thank you very much for all the efforts you did to come here and join us. And of course, for your inspiring words. Thank you very much for all the ministers, honorable ministers on stage. Rao Sahib Dhanveji, Dr. Karad, Honorable Minister, Guardian Minister Sandipan Bhumreji. Sir has been with us since the last 2 days. Yesterday we had a huge 1,000 Women Jan Bhagidari program, and I would like to thank MGM University for hosting that also. Honorable Minister Shri Atul Saveji, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much, sir, our Sherpa, Amitabh Kant for all the support, not just for being here and for your motivating and inspiring words, and also my sisters and Etienne, our brother who's absent here from France. Please let us always remind him that he has assured us and promised us that all our recommendations will be taken care of and will be the center of the Leaders' Declaration. Dr. Sandhya Purecha ji, I mean, I don't know how to thank you. Thank you for all your leadership, for your support, for being there. I think she's more than a chair, guiding us, supporting, both emotional support too, because one needs a lot. I'm sure everyone will agree with me that when we are an engagement group, it's like a coalition of a lot of organizations, different people, diverse countries, culture, everything. So it leads a lot of efforts to get everyone together. Gulden Turktan, Dr. Turktan, an inspiration, and you are an icon we all look forward to being like you. And our G20 Secretariat, Mr. Nagaraj Naidu and team, Ministry of WCD, Aditi ma'am and team, special mention for Arkaja ma'am, Anil Jha sir, Uday Shankar ji, Sanjeev ji. I don't know how to even express in words, so I'm tongue-tied. I'm lost for words. This wouldn't have been possible without you, sir. The dynamic district magistrate and collector of Chhatrapati Shambhaji Nagar, Astik Pandey, sir, I think you need to stand up. He needs a standing ovation, he and his team. So he has been, I think this is incredible. This is what we talk about, being an engagement group, getting multiple stakeholders on board, and he has been so supportive. I said, this is like he's part of the W20 team. Welcome to the W20 team, sir. Of course, and to our Municipal Commissioner and Smart City CEO and team, Deputy Collector Kuldeep sir and team, the LOs, everyone's done an incredible job. And the speakers and the media. I would like to thank PIB Director General Monidipa ma'am, who's not here, and the additional Director General Smita ma'am and her team for the incredible support we've received and the guidance we've received from media. Thank you very much. And my thank you speech is not over. Like I said, it's a prayer. You need to feel it. So I'm letting you feel it because there have been so many people involved in W20 and for this inception meeting. I would like to thank the hotel staff, Dr. Shri Kant, who's been very patient in dealing with us and all our demands. And EMC Pallavi and her team, she did a very good job with all the last minute changes and demands from us. Last but not the least, my W20 Secretariat. I would like to let you all know that I work with a youth think tank called Geostrata and also people from an NGO, HBT, who've been very, very supportive. So we've tried to leverage the power of the youth in making W20 Secretariat successful. And I would like to thank Harsh Suri, for the founder of Geostrata, for the help. But I would like to call out Vanshika, Ishita, Stuti, Deepika, Ritika, Ansh, Pranav, and Prithviraj. Thank you very much. This wouldn't have been possible without you. They held a quiz, they do the social media, and they always support even in the policy, whatever issue notes, everything. So thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. And if I've left out anyone, I don't mean to, but the last one is for my sisters here from all over the world. Kindly stand up, delegates. I would like you to please stand up. A big hand to all the sisters for helping and supporting us. You all are the wings beneath our wings, and we are going to make W20 very, very successful. I would end by saying these words from my spiritual guru, Sri Aurobindo, that never be satisfied with what you've accomplished. And I hope one day we will not have W20 because we will be equal and we would have achieved equity. Thank you very much.